everyone, my name is Gabby and I'm here with Reese today.
Hey.
And today we will be talking about the Insecure show. We will be going over the whole season, just like our overall thoughts, and then we will be going more in depth into episode 8, which is called Lowkey Happy, and this is when Lawrence and Issa reconcile. So Reese, I just wanted to know, what are your overall thoughts on the season so far?
Honestly, first of all, I enjoyed the fact that we have 10 episodes this season compared to the previous ones.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for all this content, especially since we're all hunkered down in our homes and have nowhere to go basically. I also appreciate the fact that even the cast, the actors are playing a hand in the production and the writing and the directing of these episodes. Like the one we're talking about right now, it was written by Natasha, who plays Kelly on the show, and also it's directed by Jay Ellis, who's playing Lawrence. So I'm really excited.
Me too. Yeah, it's quarantine day. I don't know what, but we all up in the crib, so we have the time to do it. Really catch up on the season and catch up on the show. So, I mean, I like the season so far. I feel like it was kind of at a point where it was going kind of slow, but with Insecure, it usually picks up really quickly. Something surprises us in the season. So, I like it so far.
And this episode was surely a surprise. Actually, let me just get into it, actually. Because, the first surprise for me was who was going to be the person that walked into the bar. Because, in episode 7, Lowkey Trippin', you heard, we saw, Lawrence exit, the airport, and it's hey, do you want to, meet up later? Do you want free to grab a drink soon? And so it's just, who is this person? Who is he talking to? Is it Condola? Is it Issa? Is it Chad? Who is it? And so, fast forward to, this episode, we figure out, who it is. And, I felt just, the first scene kind of gave me an idea of who it was going to be. Because, he got the whole Tic Tac or, the mint, and he put it in his mouth and literally choked and spit it out. I was this is very awkward. That's very, up Issa's alley. I would not be shocked if she was the person that, walked into the bar right after. And lo and behold, it was her.
Yep. Issa, as soon as she walked into that bar, she busted her ass. Of course, And, honestly, when Issa walked in, I knew it. I was just I just knew it was going to be Issa, because I'm they've been kind of liking each other's pictures on Instagram or liking each other's messages, they never really were enemies or super estranged from, each other. So I was I feel like it's going to be Issa. So after, her embarrassment, she goes and she meets up with Lawrence. And Lawrence actually pre-ordered, what used to be Issa's favorite drink, which was Prosecco and a splash of whiskey or something like that. And then and then she was just that's not my favorite drink anymore. It's actually vodka with Prosecco. So he's oh, do you want to take it back? And she was right. And I'm just see, that just shows you how much they've evolved and changed throughout the time that they were not together.
And it shows you just how much time went by for your for him to not know her favorite drink anymore. It's just it's that kind of reality check. It's wow, we really broken up,
Yeah, and they were definitely living two separate lives. I mean,
the fact that he's considering moving out of the neighborhood basically and moving on to a new life. It's wow, they really are living independently of each other.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess that scene that kind of hit me. I was just oh damn, they really kind of just changed, Lawrence is on doing his thing, Issa doing her thing, changing, what they like. So, talking about Condola, so Issa actually brought her up, and Lawrence doesn't really want to talk about why they broke up, because as we know, like, they broke up, and you know, canola oil was married. Yeah. And so Lawrence doesn't want to talk about it, but he does want to talk to Issa about something. We don't know what it is. They were enjoying their time together, and they decided to like go to a Latin spot. So Lawrence calls the Lyft, and you know, the Lyft driver is being like super nosy. He asks them if it's their first date. Lawrence says no. Issa gets aggravated. And then the Lyft driver goes on to talk about marriage. You know, she was like this older lady, so you know, she's like kind of. But she said, "You gotta lock it down if that's the one you love." And then Lawrence goes on to say that he tried. He even bought a ring.
I don't even. And the thing is like that scene in itself, like, I don't remember any of the previous seasons, like, they were even, like, checking for rings or anything like that. Maybe they did, but, like, yeah, I felt like that was, like, a moment for, like, Issa to be like, wow, like, he actually, like, he really did that? Like, he really took, like, their relationship that seriously, or, like, wanted to move on to, like, the next level. And like another thing I kind of picked up upon was like the fact that like, because when she asked like, oh, is this your first date, instead of them saying like, oh, we're not together, or like, no, we broke up, they didn't say anything. They never said either of that. And it was kind of insinuating that like what they on like today, like that night was a date. Like it wasn't like a simple meetup.
I didn't realize that Issa didn't know that Lawrence bought a ring. I thought that somehow she knew. I thought that he, you know, expressed to her that like he wanted to marry her. But I was actually surprised when I found out that Issa didn't know. You know, I thought that she knew, or I thought that she knew that like they were moving on to something, you know.
But like, how could she have known though? It's like, because like they were together for like 5 years, and during this time, like it seemed like Lawrence was in like a very dark place. Like he was like going through a lot. Yeah. And like she was like getting frustrated, and like her eyes were like wandering and everything like that. Like she was considering moving on. Like even like the first episode, like she was like, I'm gonna break up with him tonight.
Lyft driver drops him off. So Issa actually already went to this restaurant prior to her going there with Lawrence. And Lawrence was just like, damn, like you ain't telling me that you know, already went here. Like you already know the experience, you already know everything. And that just reminds me of like what happened in the first scene, that like they have been on 2 different wavelengths. Like Issa's been doing her stuff, Lawrence has been doing his stuff, and
Issa's been dating other people.
What stuck out to me in this scene was that they agreed to not tiptoe shit, and they agreed on no eggshells. So like there was gonna be no filter in the conversation that they were having about each other, which I like, because I'm like, y'all can finally sit there and figure out like what went wrong, you know.
And that was like a sign of growth, because like what ultimately like led to their like breakup was the fact that they weren't able to like properly communicate with each other. Like, you know, like she said, like she was trying to tell Molly, I remember at the beginning, that like, oh, I'm gonna break up with him, but then instead she would just like avoid him, or like they just like couldn't meet up and just like have that honest conversation. Like there would be something that like kind of like pushes it back, you know what I mean? Like further and further down like the priority list, and then here they are like years later, or months, who knows how much time has passed by, like, and them like having like grown up, like, you know, Lawrence like finally having like his own place and everything like that, having his job, and Issa like successfully, like, you know what I mean, doing that event. It's like now they're like ready to like sit there and have that conversation, which I'm like, you know what I mean, like I'll give it to them.
Literally, yeah. So Lawrence goes on to tell Issa that he has been thinking about them and what would happen if they stayed together. And then he goes on to ask Issa, he's like, do I give up too easily on things? I don't know. What do we think? Like, does Lawrence give up too easily? Like,
I mean, as Issa said, she wished he didn't give up on them. And like, you know what I mean? Like, there was signs that like showed that he gave up on things. Like, he gave up on that business plan. You know, actually, he didn't even execute it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, or like, you know, there's like other instances like throughout where like he would just like basically like give up. You know? Mm-hmm. And then so like, yeah, I kind of felt like he did. I mean, like ever since like the third season, we started to see that change, you know? Mm-hmm. Like after he had that conversation with his father and stuff like that. Like, you know how he said like, oh, I didn't want any like go into a situation with any baggage. And it's just like, well, everything has baggage, you know?
Right.
And if you come with that expectation, like it makes it easier for you to just like drop things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so like I just feel like he's shown himself in several occasions where he does like give up on things like quicker than like the average person would have.
Right. And like I'm glad that you brought up that point with his dad, because that, you know, that conversation was real. You know what, like their parents, Lawrence's parents are married, right? Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, so like, you know, he's listened to his dad. Like his dad has been through, you know, the marriage thing, and just like knowing that like you can't just give up. It's not just like they do something that you don't like and then you just give up. Like you have to like work hard and like really try to fight to make it work if it's with the person that you really want to be with. So I mean, I think that cheating is something that is hard to get over. So, and a lot of people will leave a relationship because somebody cheated. So I feel like, sure, like he does give up easily, and he didn't like really hear Issa out, especially like, you know, when he found out, he did not want to hear anything from Issa. He was just like, I'm done, you disrespected me. And I feel like Issa would have been honest, you know? I feel like she would have been like, yo, like, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that, I'm not getting this. Like, how can we make it work? That was a mistake. But Lawrence was just like, get away from me, don't touch me. Like, so I feel like in that sense, like, maybe he did kind of, you know, not really hear Issa out on why she made that mistake. But then again, that's a really hard thing to get over.
I don't know, because it's like, yeah, like, that's like enough for him to like break up with her, but I don't think that was it. Like, that was like the entire problem, you know what I mean? I feel like he had so many other issues, and he didn't like, it's one thing if you had like a conversation with her and it's like, I mean, like, I'm glad we had that conversation, but like, we need to break up. But like, he was like, the moment she cheated on him, like, and they have such a history too.
So Issa goes on to say that she had no idea that Lawrence got a ring. And you could tell that she was kind of upset from that. Or just kind of like, damn, like, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, that moment was like, dang, like, it was also her fault as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she didn't, like, obviously, like, they didn't have good communication, but, like, at the same time, like, she realized, like, oh, like, part of this is, like, my fault. Like, the demise of our relationship is, like, on me as well. Like, it's both of us, not just Lawrence, you know?
Right. Mr. Lawrence, okay,
Boop, boop.
gets a text from Condola. And Condola asks if they can see each other tonight instead of Tuesday. What do we think about them texting?
What I mean, like, instead of going on Tuesday, doing tonight. And I'm like, wow, she really wants to talk to him. Mm-hmm. I don't know, that seemed kind of like, it shows that, like, clearly, like, Condola needs to get something off of her chest. Maybe she's not over him the way that, like, the whole event went, like when she said that like she broke up with like Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
Like, it almost seems like she was talking to Issa as if she knew, or as if Issa had something to do with it.
Right.
Even though Issa was like, oh, wait, what, really?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Condola was like, oh, I didn't even want to be here. Like, it seems like something really went down. Or it doesn't even have to be something went down, but, like Condola really had feelings, like, for Lawrence, and, like, really, like, kind of felt, like, hurt or felt some type of way about them breaking up. And maybe she didn't want it to end too soon.
I'm so not here for Condola. She can go do something else with herself. I'm like, why are you interrupting Issa and Lawrence? Like, I know that Issa went to the bathroom, but I'm like, you're taking this man's mind off of Issa. Stop. And I'm like, what does she want to talk about so bad to the point where she's like, let's talk tonight? Like, what? Like, why? What is so, like, what do you need to talk about? Like,
it's like, yo, from that episode when, like, they talked about marriage, I felt like that was, like, one and done. Like, if one person wants to get married and the other doesn't, like, how do you, like, you know what I mean? They're grown. They're in their 30s. Like,
right.
There is no time to waste. Like, that is enough for you to end a relationship then and there.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, why the fuck does she keep calling? I'm like, you, like, stop calling Lawrence. Like, I don't know what the hell. But then again, like I said, Lawrence is feeding back into that.
Yes.
He's like, I'll hit you up later. I'm like, Lawrence, you be a messy.
While you're spending time with her, I was scared for Issa. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, at first I thought they were on a date, but now I'm just like, is he trying to get back at her?
I feel like another thing is like him trying to figure out, because he has a possibility of moving to San Francisco. So I feel like another part of him is like, let me figure out what's going on here. Like, let me like try to figure out where I sit with Issa and Condola so that, you know, I kind of know how to move on from these two women or these two situations for when I do go to San Francisco. You know, I think
that's a good point.
Yeah, because like I think that he's just trying to like figure things out and kind of like see where they go from there.
Like tie up all loose ends, like before you even consider like probably like dating again.
Right. Yeah.
You know. It's like, okay, like if I do have any unresolved feelings, like let me just wrap it up before I start my new life somewhere else. So none of that baggage like carries over.
So they go to this art walk. I'm like, bro, they need something. Like, I want to go to that. I don't know where that was, but I'm like, bro, I want to go to that art walk that they had.
I was ready to Google it. I love that type of stuff.
Literally, I was like, bro, I'm like, that's my shit. Anyway, so they're like exploring the art walk. And so they're just like talking casually, and Issa mentions that she's been trying to figure out what makes her happy. And Lawrence goes on to say, he's like, he's pretty happy, he's cool, you know, he's living life, you know, he's cool.
I mean,
he's happy.
Yeah, he's moved on. Like, he definitely improved, like, financially and career-wise. Like, not only, like, it's not even just, like, having a job, but the fact that he, like, changed his outlook. Because before, he was very adamant about, I need to be the boss. Like he said, I need to be the leader. I need to, like, start my own, or run my own company. But it kind of, like, changed his, like, purpose. And it's like, well, I'm clearly better working in, like, a team environment. Like, and, like, that's, like, where his role is. And that's where he, like, strives in. So I really appreciate that, like, he came to that conclusion. And he's, like, very happy with it, very content with it. I do wish, like, you know, he, like, started seeing a therapist or something. Because, like, just because you have, like, a tech job now doesn't mean everything's all good.
Exactly.
And so many plans to go to so many different cities and countries. And all of that was... I still am heated.
Bro, I really thought, so it's June now. I really thought that this would be over by June. I was just like, oh, like, you know, that we can all go out for my birthday, you know. No. I, like, just put that clown emoji. Just put that clown right there. You
should put it right here.
So, like, they're in the lift together. They pull up at Lawrence's place first, and Lawrence was just like, oh, like, come in for a quick second, I just want to show you around. So Issa, tells the Lyft driver to like wait a couple minutes, or Lawrence tells him. So they go in, and Issa is impressed on how Lawrence keeps up with his apartment, and he notices the couch. And it's the same couch from season 1 where they had arguments, quality time, like bonding moments. They like had so many different intimate moments like in that couch. Lawrence could have definitely sold that couch and gotten a new couch, but he chose not to, because I feel like he still has some type of tie or some type of feelings towards Issa,
Mm-hmm. And like the fact that the couch is blended in so well with like the whole like ambiance and everything like that, I was just like, yo, did he like personally did some interior design to match the couch? Like that was in the back of my head.
Yeah,
it was like the blue walls, the dark blue baby blue couch. I'm like,
yeah,
but yeah, and like the fact is like, when Issa, you kind of like. We were talking about this earlier, like when she went to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
He got the call. Condola stay calling him. Like he is on her mind that night. Like the entire night. Like she definitely didn't have any plans or anything. She was just like, no, I'm dedicating this night to calling Lawrence and getting him to my place so we can talk.
She on some Colin 6 lack shit. I'm calling this man's phone. Like, leave this man alone. He's with Issa right now. He ain't gonna tell you that, but he's with Issa. He's spending time with Issa, and I'm like, bro, why does she keep calling? Issa comes out the bathroom, and she sees him like get off the phone with Condola, and they say
this is her chance.
So Issa's about to leave, and then she turns around and she's like, what if I wanted to stay? I'm not ready for the night to end. And Lawrence says, tonight made me happy. And Issa responds with, you make me happy. I was just like, jeez. I was just like, oh my God.
She knew the answer all along. Yo, meanwhile, this Uber driver is like, when is she coming back?
I'm like, at this point, the Lyft definitely has probably departed. Like, there's no point for them to stay there anymore.
But like, yeah, like Issa saw that moment, like, yo, if I don't put my feelings on the table, he's gonna talk to Condola and who knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so she really had to go in and say, you made me happy. Mm-hmm. Nathan left the chat. He never even was like a thought to begin with. Right. We already know that he is just an afterthought. He doesn't exist. He doesn't matter. Like.
And honestly, when she said that, I was just like, oh shit. Mind you, she's literally on this journey. We're trying to figure out what does make her happy. And she's with Lawrence, and I feel like she really realized it. She was like, yo, like, this man makes me happy. Like, to me, when she said that, like, that was like the missing piece of her puzzle. After, Issa and Lawrence, have sex and, vibe all night, they wake up next to each other. Issa seems happy, Lawrence seems happy. And she gets up and leaves. And honestly, I was actually surprised that she left that quick. Because I'm like, y'all had a great night, like, y'all gonna have breakfast, like, y'all gonna maybe chill.
I mean, how do you just get back to that?
The vibe was like already there,
Mm-hmm. But she's a tender of tenants, you know what I mean? She's a building manager.
That's true. But then she did take her sweet ass time to walk home though. With that big ass smile on her face. I'm like, look at Issa walking home with that smile on her face.
Yo, but it shows like she's not gonna be dependent on him. She still has to work on her own stuff too. I love that ending scene with her just walking with those cute ass boots. You know what I mean? I just felt like that was like, you know what I mean? Like, shows you how beautiful like the neighborhood is, like the city. of like LA. Like you just like see all these shots and everything like that. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm traveling. And shout out to like Jay Ellis and his directing, because like I saw all that symmetry and stuff like that, looking like a Wes Anderson film or something.
Yep.
I loved it. The way they were lit was beautiful. That scene where both of them were on either side, like looking at each other at the art walk, like beautiful.
So I really hope that everyone enjoyed this little discussion / review on the Insecure episode 8, Lowkey Happy. And that's all I have for you today. So thank you, Reese, for joining with me on this video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So bye.